Hi guys, I'm gonna do a reading on Joe Biden. I was looking up like who's the most Googled person right now, and it was him. So I don't know if you can call it like a politician a celebrity, but I'd have to look up the definition of the word celebrity to really know. Certainly he's well known, and I'm interested in what comes out in this reading. I feel like the cards are really sticky, so I think he may have some like protective type of energy around him, like someone who appreciates his privacy. Okay. Nonetheless, some cards are coming out. Yeah, it's like, you know how sometimes they talk about like on YouTube, like different programs they may have had over the years in the United States, information gathering type of stuff, like where they might use remote viewers or like non-physical types of intervention, or I don't know, it's like I get kind of vibes like that where it's like it feels like there's like a team of like 5 people who are in charge of like making sure all is well with him or something like that. That's cool. I'm all for psychics having well-paying jobs. Like, is the dream, right? Okay. So keep shuffling. I mean, this reading is meant as like for your entertainment. I just want to make that clear. I'm not trying to like push. I mean, because this person is a political figure, I'm not trying to push any sort of agenda at all. I mean, like I know he's a Christian. I also have been baptized in the United Church. I did that as an adult though, after I become a Reiki master, and I was not raised religious. I mean, I was raised, my parents both told me like that they didn't believe in God growing up, and the only times we went into a church was for classical music on the days that the church was not in service. But yeah, I just like found my way to being interested in spirituality and on my own. It's just yeah, so it wasn't like a popular decision. But I wasn't like constantly telling my parents about it anyway. But anyway, it wasn't like a shared interest. Let me put it that way. Anyhow, so the reason I brought that up is I just want you to get an idea of like my perspective. So it's like I do distance healing for clients, and which includes like psychic readings, and my general thing is just like healing, self-awareness, like awareness of possibilities in life and growing and improving and stuff. So the readings I do aren't like gossipy or meant to like, not meant to invoke any kind of fear or anything like that. It's just like looking, like curious, looking, and then also being open to whatever like positive information comes through. So I'm curious, like, what positive information comes through in terms of, in this case, Joe Biden's growth and hopefully positive effect on everybody, since he seems to have a position of being like, is nexus the right word? Like the point where things cross, like between, like, you know, different countries in the world, and I think that's what nexus means. Like, I live in Quebec, so like I hear a lot of French, so my English is kind of like eroded a bit. And I find myself saying things like in Fringlish sometimes, which here like people just take for granted. It's like the normal way to say something, but if you're speaking to people who don't really speak English, they're like, what are you talking about? Okay, so again, it's like the cards are hard to pull out, just because I feel this sort of sheltered energy where there's like people around whose sole purpose is to have that protective energy there. You know, it's nice to have friends. Okay, let's pull a couple more cards. It's like normally it's a little bit easier to pull cards, but just protective energy is real. Okay, that was easier. All right, so there's a bit of like, okay, fine, do the reading now. All right, I'm gonna put on my glasses, puff my hair up, get organized. Okay. Okay, so we have all is well. That's nice. Babies are beings from the non-physical, eternally coming forth for the creation of that which they decide. The babies are wanting so much for you to know that all is well. Okay, so they're trying to talk about like babies who have not materialized into 3D bodies right now, and they're okay. They're wanting so much for you to know that all is well. So it's like, how much are we allowing ourselves to be reborn in this life? And I guess like if in relation to Joe Biden, you know, he's been through a lot personally. And I feel like when I talk about that, like there's this, feels like a rain of like this difficult information that maybe he hasn't completely been able to transmute. You know, it's still just like this difficult information that existing in this space of like, that was hard, this is difficult, like, you know, obviously he's healed enough to be positive and like run for president again, etc. But you know, and carry on. But I feel like there's some like, okay, like I know you can like go, you can go to church and like go see a sermon and have the minister say all is well, like, you know, everything's in divine order, etc., etc. It's one thing to be told it, it's another to like believe it and know that 100% in yourself. So I feel like it's all well and good for him to attend church services, but as a like a community type of building project and friendship and, you know, like support and, you know, like moment to consider certain topics or whatever. But I do feel like not to like advocate that he doesn't go to church, but like he needs to carve out some time. Like maybe there's probably like a chapel in the White House that like a person could go to and just meditate for like 2 hours and 15 minutes, I'm thinking, where he could just go in there and have his own moment where there isn't like the public, there aren't eyes on him, there aren't like, he's not being told what passage of the Bible to contemplate or really like losing my voice, like why? And yeah, so I kind of feel like he really needs that me time to know for himself certain truths, like spiritual truths and stuff, that will give him like this really stable framework from which to like live his life, speak his truth. Like we all have, when you talk about power, power is like, how much are you connected with like what we call God, like the universe, source energy, like your openness to that and like your ability to like flow with that is like an indication of how effective you can be in life, and like how you can like jump over hurdles and like get to where you want to go, so that you can like really be in that listening, co-creating like type of energy. And if you're always like serving, like I'm serving the people, I'm serving the members of my church, I'm serving my family, like it's like give, and he needs to receive more. And so like each of us, within us, we have a masculine and a feminine energy, like that creates a sort of functioning, if you will, like a yin yang kind of thing. You can't just have like the yang is like having one like comma with a dot in it, like spinning out of control. You need the other one for like balance. It's a really bad example, but his masculine and feminine energies need to be balanced more, so that he can, like his feminine energy of receiving the support, receiving the messages, like so that he's better able to give. It's like, it's like RuPaul saying, put your mask on first, oxygen mask. So it's like, he needs to have like in a week, a good 2-hour and 15-minute session in the White House chapel by himself. Like, no, do not disturb. There's no texting. There's like, it's just like important time, because it's like, you can take meetings with like human beings, or like, secret groups of people, or like be briefed by military like top people or whatever, or you can have like civic leaders talk to you, or you can talk to God. Also, that's also like a really important meeting to take once a week. And you can't take that meeting around your community necessarily, where like there's a bit of a editing process of like what you're thinking about, because like someone is dictating like what you're thinking about that day, because they're preaching like a certain lesson and passages, and it would be hard to like double task and be like, I'm thinking my own thoughts and I'm thinking about taking seriously like what this minister is talking about. Anyway, the long and the short of it is he needs that me time to create that kind of like positivity of like rebirth, creation. Like we're constantly being reborn. Like we're not just being constantly rained on of like these situations that are hard to sort out. Like we take the time once a week to refresh ourselves and like make our connection to our creator like strong and clear, so that we can move forward. And we know that like the creator like has our back and can sort out the things that we find like totally confusing and too difficult to take on. Like it's a mistake to think that you're alone in the universe. you're incorrect. And so there's a certain amount of like, here, take this. I can't deal with it, like that you need to do, you know? And then all you really need to do is like take the cues of what you feel like your creator's giving you, or like if you're not psychic, you might see like animal messages or like synchronicities or like themes of how people interact with you. And you can kind of do the math and go like, I think I'm being told to, you know, do this or that, you know, kind of thing. So all you really need to concern yourself with is your next move. And in order to be in that fresh mind space, like for Joe Biden, like he needs to have that me time to just make things like quiet so that he can even just receive that message, you know? Because there's a lot of like people in his ear, people on his screen, like, and you can't just be an information sorting house. Like there's a life to be lived too. And in order to be like really inspiring and channeling like the beauty of the universe and like positive growth and stuff, like you need to be that within yourself first so that you can share that with the world, you know? I mean, I could end the reading there, but I'll continue. There's a lot of information from one card. I'm selfish enough to want to feel good. Feeling good indicates your connection to clarity, wellness, and an abundance of in all good things. Feeling good is your most natural core belief. Yeah, so again, it's like he needs to take this me time to just feel good being like in the moment. I'm learning that all problems resolve themselves. When you have a problem, a desire exudes forth from you. Source hears it and answers it immediately. Once you remove your attention from the problem, you then allow the solution. Give birth to the question and let it go and allow the answer to flow. Yeah, so like, it would be like, I don't know, it's like a weird example, but like, let's say you're at like a video game parlor. Like you don't have one at home or something. Like an 80s kind that like I'm more familiar with. So like these big machines with red buttons and stuff. I don't know why it's so hard to talk during this reading, but it would be like if something wrong was going on and you're just like pressing like on the red button constantly, and it's like just walk away from like Ms. Pac-Man and just know that like source energy, like God, like the universe, like heard you, that like, okay, there's a problem here, and just again be open to the moment with like without the burdens of the past, so that you can hear your next message for the solution. Because if you're just like focused on this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem, this is a problem, it's like you're just underlining like that problem energy and giving your attention and power to that and making that thing grow and have more like roots in the ground kind of thing. But if you're like, okay, that happened, I know that like source energy is going to sort of Tetris that situation, and it's my job to hear like what's my next move. So in terms of Joe Biden, like he needs to not so much focus on problems, but like be open to solutions and synchronicities and inspirations, and it's like follow that like beautiful path towards solutions and peace and like things like that. Like some people think of peace as like this emptiness, like they think meditation is like empty your mind. It's like, it's not empty your mind, it's like all is well, even though there's all this stuff going on, and there's some kind of like beautiful perfection of logic to it all. And you can avoid these kind of snakes and ladders, falling on your butt kind of stuff, if you know that like source energy has your back, and your job is to like, what's my next message, like what's my next move, It's really, life doesn't have to be this burdensome, trying to put out like 50 fires at once kind of thing. It's about having faith and going like one message at a time towards your greater good, which is like everybody's greatest good, because it's all connected. So he needs to learn that like all problems resolve themselves, and then it's just a matter of like being open to like what's the most beautiful message that comes out of this, and kind of going forward with that, instead of just pressing the Ms. Pac-Man button of like problem, like that kind of thing. All right. Then we have the crystal Libyan gold tektite manifestation. I manifest positive outcomes. So this crystal is here to support Joe Biden in manifesting positive outcomes. If he's having trouble staying focused on manifesting positive outcomes, he can ask for this crystal Libyan gold tektite to like support him. Maybe he can have that crystal somewhere in his office or in his pocket, like, and just like you ask the crystal, like, please help me with this, like in this case, manifestation of positive outcomes. If he doesn't have that, he can just like look at pictures or just think about this crystal, and like, because crystals are a consciousness that shows like, wouldn't it be cool if I was a crystal? Wouldn't it be cool if I was like glowing yellow and I drew like these certain elements, only these certain elements to me, despite whatever else kind of rock business is going on around me. And I'm gonna do that for like millennia because I'm so focused, like that's kind of like a heavy duty kind of thing to do, with your time. And crystals are here to like help us have that same degree of focus and determination and like glowing of like a certain vibe. Okay, I don't know why I'm giggling and stuff, but that's all right. Then we have Herkimer, the Herkimer diamond, dreams. I don't live that far from New York State, so I'm kind of curious to like check out, like go to the Herkimer diamond. I guess it's a mine, I don't know, but they have them there. I'm constantly manifesting my dreams into reality. Dreams and imagination. Like we're sort of taught growing up that like dreams and imagination are like not real, which is completely false. It's just like a lighter frequency. So it's like, I'm not going to get into my beliefs on that right now because it's like a long subject, but fascinating subject. But anyhow, yeah. So what you think about, what you have in your imagination is like what you're going to bring into your reality. So you might want to be careful what you think about, what you focus on, because it's really powerful. It's also like you got to watch your words too, because like you can go through life just like being crabby or calling people out or whatever, but you're manifesting a certain, those are like Legos, like building your reality. And it's like, do you really want to build that? Like be careful what you're building with your words and what you choose to focus on in your imagination. Because your imagination is like a giant kind of Walmart. Like you could be in any aisle. Make sure what you're picking out is like what you truly want. So like for him, there might be the temptation to focus on the negative because like people are up in his grill about like, this is going on, like, and he has the choice to go like, okay, you said that, but like I see something beautiful. I see a beautiful outcome. And you're kind of like setting your dial inside to like beautiful outcome. It's kind of like Martin Luther King Jr. Like, I have a dream. His dream was like a good dream, you know, and he's like, I'm focused on that. I'm bringing you my dream in lectures and, you know, movements and discussions and stuff. So like Joe Biden has to have like this overarching, like, let's say there's the land, and then the rainbow over the land is like his overarching positive dream of like how things are going to go, and like everything lives under that kind of like rainbow of like what's supposed to come through. So I really like, so far this reading is about really giving himself the space to have this beautiful imagination of like the positive outcome, and like giving that like this important space in the realm of like being a world leader, and letting sort of God deal with some of the details, because like the vibe, it's like we're all getting in the car of positivity. And so like everyone's got to kind of get on board that giant car. Oh my God, my examples. Yeah, so all these people that have like different jobs to do within the realm of like running the country, to diplomatically dealing with the rest of the world, they're living under this rainbow, or like driving in this positive car with him. It's going a certain way. It's not just random nonsense and like bullshit taking over, sprouting up here and there, and without any kind of like mission, you know? So it's like his mission is like not something he needs to sit down with some like Harvard grad or whatever who studied politics. It's like between him and God. It's his job to spend that like 2 hours and 15 minutes a week alone, like in the White House chapel, downloading that information and getting the insights in total privacy, so that then he has a really like firm view of like where we're going, like focusing all that energy, like any kind of stuff that's going on has to go through this kind of pass through this temple or whatever of like, you know, we're going this way. So things don't seem random and out of control, because like at the beginning of the reading, I was feeling like he was sort of overwhelmed with these sort of like unpleasant like little experiences that felt like sort of a dark rain. That didn't feel like constantly falling, but it's like here and there, and it's like the only way to like not feel oppressed by that is to have this kind of like God has my back umbrella, as it were. I know it's like really simplistic, but I didn't even read this card. But you get my drift. Okay, then we have Sunstone, empowerment. I'm empowered in all areas of my life. I don't know why, like, how like I need my glasses, but like I think it's funny how like I pretend I've got bifocals on when I'm not even wearing my glasses, like as if I'll be able to see it better like here than. It's sad. My eyesight was perfect until the invention of the smartphone, because like I looked at it at nighttime too many times. That's just my beef with the technology of like the 2000s and whatever moving forward. Okay, I'm empowered in all areas of my life. I really like this card is like really jumping out of my hand here, like vibe wise. I don't know if I've ever held a sunstone before, but it looks pretty cool to me right now. And because it's like red, it's like, you know, that's like your bottom chakra, like super grounded, like making stuff happen. You know, it's like kind of like your warrior type of, and I don't mean warrior in the sense of war. I just mean like pushing through, like in the physical world. Unafraid. Okay, so I'm empowered in all areas of my life. So Sunstone is here to like help him remember that all areas of his life have the power of like God behind them, and to just have faith and like know that. And if you need the crystal consciousness to support that idea, like right now we have Herkimer diamond, Libyan gold, tektite, and sunstone. Wouldn't be a bad little trio to have, you know, as top drawer or whatever, or bedside table, or I don't know, or like a little bracelet or something like that. I don't know. Crystals are cool. End of story. Okay. I'm just gonna grab this card next. We have okay, clear and shield your energy. Like I feel like at the top of the reading, I was sensing that there's almost like staff at the U.S. government that do this for world leaders. Like it's like a cool job to have. But there's a certain amount of like, I don't know. There's just like something about the vibe of it that like, I don't know if it's like a military kind of vibe or just something like a committee-ish about it that I'm not like super down with. But anyhow, so there's, you know, it's good to have helpful people in your administration or whatever. It's all well and good. But like there's also a certain amount of like me time, like, you know, shielding your own energy. Like even though you're in a protected atmosphere already, you can kind of like do your own vibe check too, and like ask, like in this case we have the Ascended Master El Moria shielding energy on your behalf. So, you know, if you're a praying person and you believe in like helpful ascended masters or saints or, you know, whatever, like doesn't hurt to reach out to your friends in the lighter frequencies to say like, hey, can you shield my energy, please? You know, please and thank you, because you want to be polite. Okay, then we have the Death card. So that doesn't have to freak you out. Like it's like rebirth, you know, because like when the snake sheds its skin, it's like brand new vibe, glow up, you know, kind of thing. I'm just gonna look at the card for a second and see what I see. Yeah, I feel like there is a certain energy where Joe Biden might feel, you know, it's like he's new, like his presidency is relatively new, like a month old or whatever. And he might feel like it's like, oh, people see me as like old, or like can I really affect like these different islands in the world? I feel like these like branch sort of scars on the birch tree are like different countries in the world that he's looking at, and he's like, how effective am I? It's just a moment of like, you know, if people are in his ear about his age or this or that, like age is really irrelevant. It's like your soul is eternal. It's hanging out in your physical body, like who you went through this or that experience in your life that was hard or easy or whatever. And that does not affect like your importance or your ability to affect change. Like age is irrelevant. So my message to him would be like, don't worry about that. And just be the president. Like, just, I am the president. Like, that's it. Like, end of subject, you know? And just owning that position that was given to him because people had faith in him to give him that station. And it just is, and just be in the moment and be like fully accepting that. And like, if people are in your ear going like, oh, you're so old, it's like maybe those people are worried about age or like maybe their boss told them to ask that question. Like, who cares? Like, just because someone says something or asks you a question doesn't mean you need to like go down their like line of thought. You can be in your own line of thought and just be like, you can say something random. It's like in the 90s, there was this show called 120 Minutes. And I remember like Thurston Moore was interviewing Beck Hansen, I think that's his last name. And Thurston Moore asked a question, and like Beck was just kind of fiddling with his untying his shoelace, and then instead of answering, he just threw his shoe across the room. And it's like, you don't necessarily have to throw your shoe, but you don't have to answer every question that's posed to you, and you don't have to react to everything that's said to you. Like, people could say to me like, oh, you're 53, therefore this, that, and the other. It's like, whatever, like, I'm doing my thing over here. Your perception of me isn't like, if it's not straight from the consciousness of the creator, like, it's not really my problem. Like, whatever kind of stage you're at in terms of compassion and like awareness and whatever, that's not gonna bother me, you know? So in the case of Joe Biden, it's like, don't let people's negative talk like even have any space in your mind. It's just like, it's just kind of like that dark rain that I was seeing before. It's like, if you have like God's umbrella, it's like that stuff will just roll off and either like feed plants or go into the gutter and back to the ocean or whatever. Like, it's not your problem. Just own it, and enjoy being present. Okay, and then we have this trio of cards here. The Six of Wands. So it's like, you know, he's been in the government for like a super long time, and he's like, I'm back, you know, and I'm victorious. There was a tower, like there was some kind of like really difficult like shakeup, but that's like over now, and it's like, it's time to like rebuild, which he's doing. I feel like in this card there's like the energy of like accusations against him, like that were from the past, and I feel like, you know, I feel like it's complicated, and it's not like black and white in terms of like he said, she said, whatever stuff. And so I just kind of feel like whatever, you know, tower that fell, whatever kind of like situation that happened and then broke and then crumbled and everyone like sort of looked at it and talked about it, I kind of feel like that's been sort of dealt with, and it's like time to rebuild. And like, I don't feel like a need to keep going over that and over that, like if there was some concern. And normally this card would seem like overburdened with duty and whatever, but in this case, I feel like he's embracing the task of dealing with a lot of stuff at once, which makes sense. Okay. Then we have this trio of cards: the Hermit, the Five of Swords, and Justice. That's nice. Nice to see Justice upright. Considering the last 4 years of what in God's name was that politically. All right. Yeah, so it's like a battle has taken place, and I kind of feel like Joe Biden's like able to like take the danger element away from like these characters who are like skulking off back to their Mar-a-Lago or whatever, you know. The fact that like the administration now and the press and like it's just a better crew of people, and like there isn't that like need to be, there isn't that like fighting vibe anymore. Like, oh, the press is bad, or you know, whatever. Like there's more trust in general, and like the fight is over, I feel like. And it's like, sure, there's these characters are still like around, walking around and living their life, but they're not like, he's holding these dangerous, what could have been dangerous elements now. He has sort of the parole, like he has his speech is like heard first kind of thing. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. French is like scrambling my hard drive. But yeah, they're just like I feel like the last administration is sort of having this forced vacation time, having to like look at the ocean instead of like getting to play with like the world like a chess game with some like bad opening moves. Yeah, and it wasn't fun. It wasn't fun for him, this activity of like taking their dangerous toys away, and it aged him a bit. But he's standing there like, I did it, you know. And I really feel like his sort of spa day to kind of regenerate his energy would be that me time, that like if I could impose like a 2.5 hour once a week meditation time where he's not tasked with thinking about a certain thing at all, except just to connect with his maker. It would be like the spa day that he needs to feel like, okay, I did that, and now I'm ready for some other task that other people would find difficult, but like I got it, you know. Yeah, so we have like the Hermit card, so it's like this, exactly what I was talking about, having this retreat time to like see what's glowing in the lamp. You go in there in darkness and there's nothing in the lamp, and then finally like the lamp glows and like lights the world in this way that only like God can show you things, you know, and then you know where to move forward. It's pretty heavy duty. It's nice. And then we have Justice, which I'm personally really glad to see. I mean, like if what's her name? Right. Like there's a bit of it, like if Nancy Pelosi was blonde, like she kind of like resembles her a bit, like, to me. But I kind of feel like when I look at this card, like it's not really like her specifically. It's just this vibe of like, he has made space, and I get kind of emotional, and it's not my emotions. It's like the collective. He has welcomed in the feminine energy into politics at its highest level, which is significant in like terms of justice, because there's been an imbalance for like a super long time. You know, prior to even the forming of the United States Inc. or whatever, you know, because like some people say it's like there's the United States and then there's the corporation of the United States, and like, because like we all have like a kind of strawman version of ourselves, even the country does, and it's kind of weird. But anyway, even prior to the formation of the country / corporation, there was this feminine imbalance. And the fact that this balance of feminine and masculine is being restored is like, spiritually speaking, justice speaking, like really heavy duty, I feel like. And I'm really getting like some heavy downloads about that. Let's think about that for another second. Gotta get the glasses on here. Yeah, it's just like the crying aspect is like, whew, so really like present. Some very profound things are gonna take place in terms of justice that are like gonna change the world. Like, oh, it's like really intense. It's like the sword has been taken away from like the manipulative kind of mansplainer vibe people, and in the hands of the feminine, either the feminine within a guy or like a feminine within a woman, because we have both energies within ourselves. And so that kind of like take, attack, that's like a really masculine, like going for it energy, as now being balanced with receive. Like I listen, like I receive, like there's a give and take now, and it's like way more healthy, and it's just like really makes me want to cry. Like it's a really exciting, long overdue change. And like you might look at like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as like just a couple of people doing their job, but I feel like that it's more profound than that. That's more profound than even they have a say in. It's like their masculine and feminine energies being balanced and together like that, like is like creating an atmosphere for justice and balance that we haven't seen for a long time. Okay, that's really cool. Okay. Okay, like I'm not gonna cry. All right, so then we have the Two of Cups. I'll just read your comments for a second. Okay, David retracted his message. Wow, thank you. I'm not answering personal questions right now, but if you want to contact me through my website, please do so. But yeah, like this series of readings, celebrities, is just like just that. But I am reachable and I do answer my mail. Okay, so yeah, so we have the Two of Cups. Just gonna look at this card. When I look at this card, I feel like this is like the U.S. and Russia giving each other, like realizing like we're more similar than different, aren't we? Like there's a certain I see myself in you, kind of like, oh, we're these two empires that, want similar things. And we can sometimes go about it in ways that are like cruel. We might have like a vision that we thought was like good for everybody, like, whether it's oh my god, like I'm not like I try to stay away from some politics and stuff because my parents were both very political in different ways, and took me to a lot of like rallies and stuff. So I just kind of turned me off since I was a kid, like all that stuff. But here I am talking about politics. Okay, so they have had their own like really strong views about like what's good for everybody, what's good for the world, and I'm not going to label those things because I know that like some of the things are in flux. Like you can't be so broad as to say like communism versus democracy. Like it's a lot more complicated than that. But they both want to be like the top girl kind of thing, like they both want to be the prettiest, most popular, but they're like, oh, we both want to be that. And I think just like I feel like there's a sense of like appreciation, like seeing each other not as like an enemy, but like a sister, or like I appreciate that about you too. Like, oh, you have a strong vision too. Like we both have a very strong vision of what we want. And it's very much like a global vision. And maybe like if, let's say, in terms of Joe Biden, it's like see what you have in common with Russia. And go from like the point of viewing things like from that place of commonality. Even though it's like maybe a bit of a mental gymnastics at first to go like, why am I looking at things through the eyes of love? It's like, well, if you're a Christian, like, shouldn't you be doing that 24/7 anyway? Like, so I would look for like the commonalities between like so-called enemies and maybe see your own reflection in them. As well, like, well, we're an empire too, like, the differences maybe just like climate zone and language and stuff, but like there's really like quite a lot of similarity between US and Russia. So my advice would be like to approach things in terms of diplomacy and in terms of like what do we have in common. Like, this just feels like very pertinent. Okay, so what we have, 5 of Pentacles. So people can like make you feel like you're not part of like what's powerful and good, or like clubs or like societies, or like there's something to do with like being included, not being included, kind of. But again, I feel like with this, like with the last card, it's like, what did all these societies and groups have in common? Like in terms of like the people storming the Capitol, in their minds, it's like like the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Like you can't think that like whoever did what like didn't have in their personal reality the best intention. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying what happened was good, not at all. Like if people are injured, and generally speaking, like fighting is like a bad vibe. But everybody's operating from their different kind of broken record of like, this is how things ought to roll, you know, and seeing them as like separate and mourning, like I don't really like it when I don't watch the news that often, but when I do, like, I don't like it when people are like, they're all bad people. Like, it's like, that's not like the space where people can heal and grow and learn. And like, for instance, like it was like during the very first quarantine, like last year, things were pretty tense because like a lot of people were pretty like rocked by like the change from like normal life to total silence and isolation. And I was living like in a rougher neighborhood, and I got off the bus and I was like walking across the street to my place, and this guy who looked like he was like on drugs, like he was really hyper and like alert and stuff, and kind of walking a bit randomly. Anyway, so I was just like, okay, like I'll cross the street, but I don't need to like do this close up kind of thing. And so like without being a weirdo, like I crossed the street, pretended it was like that's where I was going. And then he ran up to me like full speed and he said like really close to me, like, I'm gonna effing kill you. And like he said it like he was gonna do that. And I just gave him this look, like really calm look in his eyes, like, I accept you for, I didn't say anything, but it was like a look that said like, I accept you as you are, and like I see the God inside you. And like, just, you know, because I find like some people are mad because they feel like no one gives them respect or love or whatever. So it was like a kind of Jesus vibe kind of look of like, I accept you, you're worthy of love and respect kind of look. And I'm not, like, it had zero fear in it. And then I just kept walking, and he kind of like stood there for a second, and then he ran off in the other direction, like screaming and knocking over garbage cans and whatever. But he didn't like come after me, and I didn't look back. I just kept going because I didn't want to like change the vibe that was basically saved my life. So I think like if you can look at these bad situations that happened with like through the eyes of like a Jesus type of consciousness of like everyone deserves love and respect, like what are the problems that like agitated these people sufficiently to want to gather and revolt? Like certainly there's some problems in the States that need to be addressed. And I think like through respect and love and like giving everyone dignity. I'm not saying that if someone committed a crime, they shouldn't be like brought to justice, but like in general, the general problem of like division, different mindsets within the United States, like people have to just at a very basic level be like, everyone deserves respect and love, just as a basic premise. And then from there, we can make our decisions to like work together despite our like differences of how we were raised or whatever our priorities, you know, like because someone who like runs a farm has a different set of like principles than someone who like lives in Brooklyn and is like a rave DJ or something like that. Like there's differences. So and we have to just like know that that's true, and so finding good, and it's our job to like have the premise of like everyone deserves respect and a place to like become where they're not like ridiculed and oppressed. And then it's like less likely people are gonna get mad because they feel loved and respected, because it's like I'm I'm a US citizen, therefore I'm loved and respected and I have an equal opportunity. Like if people really felt that, then everyone would just be on their cool mission, there'd be a sense of unity instead of this sense of like different factions. It's like being in a family. Like if you bring it down to the microcosm of like Thanksgiving dinner, like we're all different, but we all need to like get along as a family. And so everyone who comes to Thanksgiving has to feel like, yeah, you're different, but we all deserve love and a place at the table. Okay, there's a couple more comments. Right, so I'm not answering personal questions today. I'm just doing this reading on Joe Biden. If you want to reach me, my information is on my website is in the title or like whatever description box. The Hand of Fatima. Okay. I feel like this is like about Joe Biden and his wife's like sort of rebirth of their relationship. Like you can go through cycles within a long relationship of like rediscovering each other, seeing the beauty in each other, like again, like in an even more powerful way. Like, marriage and like long cycles of relationship can be like really beautiful and a source of like unending discovery. So that's really cute and beautiful, I feel. And I feel like for some people who are like feeling lonely, through quarantine and whatever, almost like if, let's say like in an interview or if they were interviewed as a couple or separately, if they voiced their love and devotion for each other, like in an authentic way, not just like, I love my wife, like, thank you very much. Like, it has to be genuine. Sorry, this card just jumped off the table. And it's really like a beautiful card. So I feel like that white hand reaching out to the feminine figure is like their beautiful relationship. Like they're able to like really be who they were meant to be. Like their soul purpose is achieved. And it's because they were being authentic within themselves and like working together, and like it's like really beautiful. Like if you think of the presidency as like like a love story, like how like certain romantic love stories are about like overcoming the odds, and I feel like it's like that, and it's like an inspiring story to like the onlooker person who maybe feels like, well, what can I have that's beautiful in my life? Like I feel alone right now. It's like it is achievable, and it's like I feel like if Joe Biden and his wife speak about the beauty within their relationship, like that could be very inspiring to people and uplifting. Because it is quite an achievement. Like a lot of people can feel broken by situations, but what was it that healed them? Like what miracles happened? Like that kind of stuff. Like putting our focus on the beautiful. Okay, and then we have Beyond the Threshold of Fear. I'll just like have a look at this card. So I kind of feel like this is kind of weird, but I feel like this is like nuclear power kind of potential. It's sort of in the background, and You know what? It's sort of like, it's like this figure reminds me of the hermit. I'll just find him. It's like this guy is like this guy. So it's like Joe Biden's walking through these energies of what other people had created. It's like, okay, a president before me started the nuclear program. They started this program, this, that, and the other. But it's like Joe Biden is about vision, like positivity and vision, but he's like surrounded by these different structures and like programs and stuff that are like, feel like, well, we've been here for 50 years, like, you know, it's real, but it's like, well, this is real too. My vision for like how things should be is also a sort of power. And it's like, because it's from the creator, from my time spent alone, like figuring out like what God wants. This power is more powerful than like nuclear. It's more powerful than these committees and structures that are in place. And it's kind of like all these sort of military-ish stuff. You know, there's some positive aspects to like quote unquote military, where like there's rescue operations and like, there's good things, but like the sort of gun aspect stuff, I feel like can kind of like get a bit rusty, because like there's this other vision that has to do with like healing through love and understanding and like seeing the similarities instead of the differences. It's like if you think of the Capitol rioters as like people who are passionate about the country, it's like, well, that's something we have in common. You know, everyone's passionate about the country, but like, how do we, you know, repair that through our commonality? You know what I mean? Instead of like highlighting differences and highlighting separation, it's like, ooh, you're so gross because, you know, it's like, well, in order to build bridges and heal, like we need to do that through commonality. And a lot of these structures that have been created in the government kind of atmosphere were fear-based. Like, sure, they're interesting in terms of like, oh, that's a nice design for a gun, or like, oh, that's like very powerful to use nuclear, like to use radioactivity in that manner. Like, you know, like it's interesting on some level in terms of science or whatever, but like it's not healing and leading us to somewhere beautiful. So it's like, maybe instead of like highlighting these fear-based structures that exist, I feel like Joe Biden can be walking towards like inspiration, commonality, like all of our like soul essence, like what do we have in common that's beautiful, like, and walking towards like a new dawn. That's really cool. I like all these positive messages that are coming out. I'm into it. Okay. Then we have the Six of Pentacles. So again, this like, I'm back, I'm better than ever kind of nurturing, kind of nice thing. The Prince of Pentacles, it's like some people might see Joe Biden as like, even though he's been around for a long time, like in the background, like is a relative like newcomer, as it were. But he's like going around from country to country announcing like, I'm here, let's do this. And and acknowledging that like, yeah, things were hard, like we just went through this thing, but there's this kind of like authenticity to like an openness. It's like, yeah, this shitty thing happened, this, that, and the other, and it's like all out in the open, I feel. And so the rest of the world is not going to be intimidated by, like, or feel that sense of like ego and secrecy that was there before. And so he's sort of announcing, like, yeah, we had a bunch of problems, but I'm back, and let's do this, you know. And then that will create this kind of very steady, nurturing kind of vibe. Which is really sweet, because if you think of like the spirit of the USA kind of thing, it's like, if you picture it not as like a domineering maniac who needs to run and like cause trouble in different countries around the world, if you think of it as like the seat of this like beautiful land with so much variety and richness and like dignity and purpose and like, you know, all that stuff, like thinking more like about just the United States, like itself, like not its outreach into the rest of the world, just like owning that, like, wow, like the United States is like has so much beauty and potential and variety. And it's like, you know, if you think about like Florida and the Rocky Mountains and just like, you know, like there's a lot of beauty in this land. And like I noticed when I was like in my 20s and went road tripping through the states, like the dividing lines between states are actually like ecological change lines of division. It's like when you drive from New Mexico to Arizona, it's like the land changes, you know. And same if you like go across another border and stuff, like there's a purpose behind it. It's like really fascinating how much variety there is in the United States and how much richness. And if we just kind of can get over using these like sort of negative systems of division and seeing everybody as like outside of you, you know, also like being more embracing of like health and nature. Like sure, like fast food exists, or like prepared boxed food like exists, but we don't have to like buy it, you know. And then maybe that'll pressure those companies to like get their shit together and make it healthy food, or like, or close down their company and not make food that's bad for you. Like, I don't know. Like maybe there'll be more, I don't know, like locally grown stuff. Like, you know, there's like just adapting to like what is healthy and beautiful and right about living. Like, let's do that thing instead of just running around unfocused, just grabbing easy stuff and calling people out. Like you can't like survive in that toxic kind of energy. If you think of it like, again, like the Thanksgiving table, like you can't be just like grabbing little stuff off your neighbor's plate and telling them they're stupid and clicking the TV on. Like that's not going to make a good Thanksgiving get together. So we have to be civil and appreciating and seeing the beauty in everybody's predicament and seeing commonalities, and then also seeing commonalities between us and other countries and what they want. Like we all want the same thing. We all want to love and be loved and to prosper. So it's important for us to give that to ourselves and for other people that have that right too. It's like, okay, and then we have like 5 of these tarot of sexual magic. It's funny to use that on like a president or whatever, but like there sometimes these cards like bring up interesting interpersonal dynamics. All right, so we have the 5 of Cups, and the pictures are kind of funny, but Um, okay. Yeah, so I kind of feel like the stability of his relationship and also his faith, his like sort of eternal flame of like his faith in his creator is sort of the basis upon which he is like running, his life and the presidency and stuff. And it's good that love and faith are a foundation for him, and that will have a good effect on everybody else. We have the King of Swords. So, pardon the pictures and stuff, but like, um, this is like more like sort of Trump's vibe. I feel like where he just felt like this type of character who like has little respect for women, who is like just into being like a vicious sort of leader. It's like I feel like this card is telling me that like this is the vibe that like the United States gave off for the last like bunch of years, and he's sort of having to wear this cloak of like the past when he's dealing with like other countries and stuff right now, and he's trying to say like I'm not this guy, like sure the United States has acted this way as a bully in the past, but I'm gonna like almost like sit in this energy of the bully and like change it. Like I'm gonna accept what happened, and from that place, like with my vision of like where I see God wants me to go, make changes. But it's like I'm not gonna say like, oh, that's not me. It's again like you have to, in order to conquer something that you want to change, you have to like see what you have kind of in common with it to heal it. You know what I mean? Like you can't just be like, oh, that's nothing to do with me. Like it's like, well, what part of the United States or what part of like you as a leader has this negative quality of like being a bully and being cold and dominant, and then from there go like, okay, I'm going to heal these parts of me and for the greater good. Then we have the Ace of Pentacles. So it's like, he's in this place of like having this brand new start, the sort of rebirth of his marriage too, where they're like in this different, his positivity, his wife's positivity brought them into this like new realm, this new life. Kind of, if you think of it like a video game, like they got to like the president level of the game. And they're just kind of going like, wow, okay, here we are. Like, and instead of being like me feeling like dizzy from acclimating to this new level, it's just like let's just this is real. Like I am the president. Like, I am the first lady. It's on, like it's happening, and I don't need to question that. I don't need to feel insecure about that. It's like we're doing it, like hitting the ground running, which he kind of did with his team. Like he's just like, okay, let's start from day one really strong, and it's good, Okay, so then we have the Nine of Pentacles. Let me show you that. Okay. Yeah, so again, I feel like this is like how people view the United States as like greedy and like taking like selfishly. it's like the guy that will never settle down because he's just like wants to take or whatever. So I feel like this is the rest of the world, and this is what the United States sort of felt like to everybody, where it's just like, while you're sleeping, I'm going to cut your hair off kind of thing. I'm going to take what I want and take your power, you know? And like I said before, he needs to kind of step into this energy of like what the United States has been doing in the past, that persona, to like embody it and then like transmute it and take it to a different direction, which is led by faith and God's messages, which he can only hear if he has that me time. You can't do it, and like it's all well and good to go to church and stuff, which I know is like something he does. But you also need the like alone time, and I'm thinking like it will take like 2 hours with a bit of extra time there, like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something of do not disturb, no cell phone, nobody bothering him, where it's like that council meeting between him and his creator like establishes this personal strength and vision to leave this like bully character and like be what the world, what the United States, what the citizens need. Like, okay. Like mindfully every day, like waking up every single day and mindfully going like this day is a day of miracles in which I hear God's word, and like whatever happened in the past is now through that like connection, through that insight, being beautifully transformed in what, you know, and I'm not responsible for like doing all of the fine details of it. It's like I have that kind of overarching rainbow type of mentality that's like bringing this forward, and we're all on board this like giant like 4x4 limo that is like on purpose going towards peace, and peace means like togetherness and like unity. I mean, he brought up the word unity too, but unity in the sense of I see the good in you regardless of where you're at right now, and that we all deserve respect, love, and the ability to be ourselves and define, you know, to grow and prosper, you know. Okay. All right. Then we have the Six of Pentacles. So it's like someone coming back from the past, like, hey, you know, I was gone, but like I'm back, and I'm bringing this abundance. So I see this as like Joe coming back to like the United States, kind of going like, you know, there's this abundance here, and you might have thought like I was out, you know, down for the count, but I'm back, kind of thing. Queen of Chalices is the last card in this reading. So the Queen of Cups. I feel like other countries kind of like might be in a greedy kind of way, thinking like, what can I get out of this turmoil of like the chaotic presidency that was the last one, when it was just like a cash grab for a lot of people. Like I feel like Trump might have, I mean, he was like selling off national parks and like doing a bunch of stuff like against the environment that I'm not personally into. So it was like a sort of international cash grab kind of thing, and I feel like some countries still want those types of opportunities, and only through the use of law and like the Constitution and things. I feel like some things that were done in the last while need to be undone and repaired and strengthened so that like the world knows like step off. Don't think you can do that. Maybe someone let you, but actually that was like criminally negligent, like totally different from the impeachment trials, like actual moves that like Trump and his administration had made against the preservation of the country. People, like the legal teams, need to just get on this and straighten it out. And it's not like it can't be done through demonstrations and talking. It's 100% like legal teams. Like, why was the United States created? Under what terms? There's value to that, and like preservation and enforcement of those rules. And that might mean making some deals that were made internationally like null and void due to their illegality. And so there's like a lot of, like if you studied constitutional law, there's probably some work for you right now in the States trying to like repair some of these things. So like if you're an environmental group or whatever, I feel like you'll have a better chance at success hiring effective lawyers to right the wrongs than to, let's say, demonstrate. And that's my reading. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was interesting to look at Joe Biden's energy, his purpose, his like advice. It's coming through for him on how to like function at his highest level. If you guys have like a suggestion for a reading of the celebrity, I will look at it and probably do it. I have like one recommendation I haven't done yet that I will probably do this in the coming days. I just found like the reading I did on Army Hammer was like, the energy was like super heavy duty. So I just needed to take like a couple days off just to like, whatever. And, but my goal is to do at least 3 a week of these. So yeah, I'm open to your suggestions and also what your feelings are in terms of the things that I said. If you have insights too, or whatever, it's like it can be a discussion. Yeah, so I'm just gonna send you guys some good energy for a second. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to send you guys that easy feeling of seeing things from other people's point of view as a pathway to peace. You don't have to agree with everyone, but you can know that deep down we all want the same thing. And through creating like healthy structures in our communities, those things are achievable. So if you see something that's like not right, not perfect, then maybe there's like 1% of your time can be devoted to making that thing right, whatever that might be. So we're all like God's hands, like we can't just go like, that would be cool if, like, we actually have to like do stuff in the physical, So try to enjoy your connection with God, with Source, like with the universe, and play an active role in this beautiful, creative existence. And you know, and you get that kind of reward feeling when you do something that's like good and powerful, and it almost feels selfish after a while because it makes you feel so good to be good, you know. All right, I'll end the reading there. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time.